Well, President-elect Trump has already warned about Somali refugees. Does this actually help his case about screening them better or not even allowing them in until we get a better sense of the magnitude of the problem? Republican Congressman, former Navy SEAL Team 6 Commander Ryan Zinke. This guy's the real deal, by the way. Congressman, very good to have you.
Great to be with you.
What do you make of that? Now, Donald Trump has backed off a little bit, Congressman, the idea of screening all Muslims, but he has spoken and his people have spoken about those from very dangerous areas, Somalia chief among them. How should we play this going forward?
I think we should look at the SAFE Act, which is to suspend the current program until the agencies of jurisdiction.
The current refugee program.
Absolutely. Just suspend it right now, and then let's figure out how to vet. Where are these people getting influence from? In this particular case in Ohio State, you had an individual who was in Pakistan. Who are the influencers?
In other words, he had traveled, and that's something you could have cross-checked and referenced.
Absolutely. And part of the problem is, as the refugees are coming into America, the assimilation is not taking place. You know, they become isolated, and then become fringe, and then become radicalized. So I think on the vetting side, let's figure out a process where we know the relationships between different people. Let's make sure that we vet people and bring them into the country. We know who they are.
The administration, is it not the administration per se, but those who are urging caution about making generalized statements here, Congressman, that Ali Arden's family, Somali native though he was, there was nothing to hint of problems when he and his family came here, and that these problems materialized, or at least questionable or suspicious behavior materialized within, let's say, the last year and a half. But what do you do in that case?
Well, is the file open or shut? We don't know a lot of this information. So I think a vetting process, when you do algorithms, two is you sort into big groups. Is there no threat, a medium threat, or a potential threat, and put the resources on relationships.
What's you, Congressman, then, as a former SEAL commander, would you also try in that algorithm to look at Somalia, travels to Pakistan, or some? I mean, there is a way to do
absolutely.
This, right?
Absolutely.
But we didn't after the fact, because once they're here, we don't really follow them, right?
Well, that's exactly true. When they get refugee status, they get a passport, just like you and I. They're able to travel, in this case from Dallas, across the country, without
wherever they want.
Wherever they want. And again, I think we need to close the holes. And there are really real experts within our government that know how to vet, and the State Department, NSA, the FBI, Homeland, they can come together to agree on a vetting process that gives Americans some assurity that the people that are coming to this country are here for the right purpose. And we need a program to assimilate. You know, coming in and being an isolated part, and then once you're isolated, you get influenced, and then you become a fringe, and then radicalized, and then oftentimes actions like this.
But there was nothing bad that befell Abdul Razak Ali Arden. In other words, he wasn't picked on, he wasn't bullied, he wasn't ostracized. He had a very appealing profile in the university newspaper, where he felt out of place in a society that Muslims he thought were targeted, but there was nothing unique to him or anything done to him.
Well, we don't know, but we do know.
But I guess that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be filled with rage because something directly happened to you, but he's complaining about stuff happening half a world away. By that definition, anyone could explode, and anyone then could be a target.
And he was a refugee as a child, so his formative years seem to be in Pakistan.
Right.
We don't know who he was influenced with or by, or continued to be influenced in Pakistan. There still might be a link. We don't know.
Well, what should once he becomes president, Donald Trump, what should he do?
I think the SAFE Act, it passed bipartisan out of the House in a veto-proof majority. I think we should pass it day one. And the president should sign it. And let's get the experts to look at that. Again, the agencies of jurisdiction should clearly look at it and agree with a vetting system. And simply waiting 2 years, that's not a vetting system. When there's no database available, or the file in this case was empty, that doesn't mean an individual is cleared.
And real quickly, that's the case with most. We don't have much of a file on.
But
right?
we don't have much of a file in Syria. We don't know who's been in prison,
right,
who's not been in prison, who's a criminal, who's not a criminal. It takes time to vet these individuals.
What do you say, Congressman, to those who argue, well, the odds of something happening are offset by the odds of leaving a humanitarian gesture aside, doing the right thing by these people and keeping our welcoming to those who've been scorned abroad here?
I'd have to remind individuals of New York and New Jersey and Minnesota and the state of Washington, Ohio State and Orlando and San Bernardino. We live in a different world than we did even a decade ago. And our job as government officials is to make sure our homeland is safe. And that has to be number one. And I don't think it's, we should always be a humanitarian country and have open arms for refugees and those in need. We always have. But we have to be careful and prudent in how we apply.
But you wouldn't generally apply that, as Donald Trump originally did as a candidate, to all Muslims, or you would?
I think refugees. I think across the board refugees.
That's where you draw the distinction.
I do.
All right, Congressman, thank you very, very much.
It's been delightful.